Hello and welcome to Saturday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where, as has become a bit of a tradition over the last few weeks, we are looking at a logic puzzle today. It's not a Sudoku puzzle, it's called Sum Fillomino, and as I hinted at yesterday, it's by AnalyticalNinja, whose puzzle I did yesterday, along with Kafka Farnaum. It was a collaboration of the two of them, and it was an absolutely astonishing puzzle. It took me the best part of 2 hours to solve, so thank you to anybody who's actually watched that video already. What a puzzle, though. Anyway, that was slated for yesterday. We got inundated with recommendations. I think that's a new puzzle. But this puzzle has been recommended to us as well for this Saturday slot. So AnalyticalNinja, a very rare thing on the channel to have consecutive days for the same puzzle constructor, but apparently this is wonderful. The rules, it's sort of Fillomino, but there's these clues outside the grid. Imagine that was a 5. Then the way it works is the first 5 cells here have to sum to 20. But then obviously we've got to build Fillomino regions out of that. And if you don't know what Fillomino is, do not worry. I'm going to explain the rules properly in a moment or two's time. That was just my short potted history of the rules. Now, let me tell you some things. I've got a few birthdays to do today, actually. But what else can I tell you about before then? Over on Patreon, we have a brand new Sudoku hunt competition for you that commenced on the 1st of October. Hundreds of you have managed to solve the puzzle so far, which is absolutely brilliant, but the competition runs until the 20th. So if you want to be in with a chance of winning the competition, do check it out. Have I got a flyer? I do. Here we go. Caroline's Halloween Adventure. And it is definitely more approachable than last month. So most people who started are finishing it, and you can see it's the Japanese sum Sudoku puzzles that the Paint by Numbers Institute, whose Sudoku hunt this is, have become sort of famous for setting, and they're really wonderful. And you get a picture in the grid at the end, so you sort of know if the picture's really distinctive, you know if you're on the right lines or not. When you're sort of 2/3 of the way through, I'd say. Now, what else do I need to mention? Oh, I'm not sure. I've got a couple of things to say during the birthdays, so why don't we just kick on with those? Actually, birthdays and other things here. And the first birthday is late. I'm really sorry about this, but Francesco, it was your birthday on the 2nd of October, and I ought to have known this in time because your sister, is it Eleonora? I hope I'm saying that correctly. Eleonora, could be Eleonora, but I think Eleonora might be how you're meant to pronounce it. Well, your sister wrote to us and told us that you watch daily and you'd appreciate a shout out, and then I missed the message. I'm so sorry, but Francesco, I hope you had a brilliant birthday with, of course, large helpings of chocolate cake. The next one is not a birthday, and I'm not exactly sure on the day this happened, but is it Adamo? Adamo passed their driving test. And I know this because Bethan wrote to us, Adamo, and said that this is worthy of deep appreciation. So consider yourself appreciated on the passing of the driving test, and good luck with your masters, which I know. I understood from the email you're engrossed in at the moment, so I do hope that goes well. And yeah, many congratulations on getting that little bit of freedom. I remember passing my driving test. It was something of a rite of passage in life. Next birthday, LongWayToTipperary, one of our most wonderful viewers. On any given video, you'll see a comment from Longway, and always so kind, so considerate and positive. A really wonderful member of this community. So LongWayToTipperary, I hope you don't mind, but I thought I would read a poem for you, which I will do at the end of this video. It is by one of my favourite authors, Dylan Thomas, and it's about a 30th birthday. I'm not sure that you've reached the fine old age of 30 yet, but it is called Poem in October, and some of you will know it. It's quite a famous poem because it is so redolent, I suppose, of this time of year, especially if you're in England or Wales, which I know you're not. But anyway, long way to Tipperary. That is a tiny birthday present from me to you, and I hope that you can celebrate your birthday with a bit of chocolate cake. Next, Travis, it's your birthday today, and I know this because your wife Kelly, wrote to us, and I don't know much more than that, Travis, but I hope you have a brilliant day today with chocolate cake, of course. And also, it's Zoe's birthday today, and I know this because your husband Nick wrote to us, and Nick was rather more revealing, Zoe. Nick said that you would love to watch a live episode of Cracking the Cryptic in order that you could shout at me in real time when I miss logic. Well, that will be possible. I hadn't actually thought of this, but Mark and I are doing a live episode of Cracking the Cryptic on the 27th of October. That's later this month, isn't it? That's actually not that long away, at the Stratford Literary Festival. And I hadn't considered the possibility I might just get shouted at while trying to solve. Yeah, that would probably be a cathartic experience for many of you. The opportunity to actually express your fury with me at my missing of obvious digits. Anyway, Zoe, I hope you have a great day today. I know that you're pregnant with, I think it's you're Nick's first child, so I do hope that's going well, and the best of luck with the coming birth, obviously. And also, I'll wish a happy birthday to my godson, Will. Will, I'm sure you're having a very good day today, although I do hope Chelsea lose. Are they playing today? I'm not sure. Anyway, let us move swiftly on. Have a look at Sum Fillomino by AnalyticalNinja. These are the rules of the puzzle. We've got to divide the grid into regions of orthogonally connected cells. So what does that mean? That is a region of orthogonally connected cells. If we added that cell on, this purple one is not part of the purple region because it's not orthogonally connected to the rest of the purples. It touches the rest of the purples at a point that is not sufficient for an orthogonal connection. We could achieve orthogonal connectivity by adding that one in. So anyway, we've got to divide the grid into regions of orthogonally connected cells and place the region size in each cell of those regions. So, see, I've managed to mess this up already. I'm going to chop my region down, and now all of these could contain a 9, because I think that purple region has 9 cells in it. Now, regions of the same size can't share an edge. So, if we had another region, let's say we had another region here, and we were considering whether this cell could be part of the region and make it another 9 region. No, it couldn't be, because you can't have 2 regions of the same size next to one another. Of course, I suppose that could be in the region, if that one could as well, to make a region of size 10. That would be possible. Let me just check that wording of the rules, actually. Yeah, I don't know whether you can... I suspect in this puzzle you might be able to have regions that are bigger than 9. I was wondering, sometimes in the wording of the rules it will use the word digit. It'll say place a digit into each cell, and some people have been able to infer from that in the past that because a digit can't really be 2 numbers, that each region would be only of a size up to 9, but it doesn't say that in this one, and these clues around the grid are quite big, so it might be possible to have regions of bigger than size 9 in this puzzle, but we don't know. Now, clues outside the grid, I sort of explained this earlier, but clues outside the grid contain the sum of the first x numbers from the direction of the clue. So we looked at that example, didn't we? Where x is the first number seen by the clue. So if this was 5 and this was 6, then this 20 clue would be saying that those numbers there sum to 20, because it's the first 5 numbers. This would be the first 6 numbers summing to 20. But remember that when we do this, we're going to have to do it in such a way that we can build the Fillomino regions, because that 5 will be in a region of size 5. This 6 will be in a region of size 6. Okay, so one thing we could think about doing is that sort of thing. That would work very nicely. A region, I mean, that's probably right, actually. I shouldn't have done that, because that's probably right. A 5 clue here, and you just make it up with 5s, and obviously 5 5s is 25, so... Okay, sorry, I shouldn't have done that. Anyway, that's sort of how the puzzle's meant to work. Do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. But now, I get to play. Let's get cracking. Now, I'm not really sure where to get cracking. I mean, the thing is, although this might well be 5 5s, presumably this could be... I mean, let's think about this. This could be ludicrous things, couldn't it? It could be a 2 there, and then a 23-sized region here. How big is the grid? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Square, isn't it? Okay, so it's 10 by 10 grid, so we've got 100 cells to play with. And... yeah, that's... okay. I'm just wondering whether this could even be some sort of meta puzzle where if this clue takes 20 cells to complete itself, and that clue takes 20 cells, and that clue takes 20 cells. Oh no, that's wrong, isn't it? Because okay, sorry. All right, I'm yeah, no, okay. What doesn't happen in this puzzle is that, actually, because we've just shown that we can complete a 25 clue. These clues here don't take 25 cells to fill them. They only take 5 cells to fill them. Right, so it's not that. It's not that. Okay, sorry. I was just trying to... so maybe we start with the small digits then, rather than the big digits. Let's try a small digit. So, this can't be a 1, because that would be saying we're adding the first cell only in this direction. It can't be a 3, actually, can it? This must be a 2. If this is a 3, then these two squares would have to sum to 1. And that's impossible, because we can't put zeros into the grid. So that is a 2, and therefore that's a 2. Oh, right, yes, okay. So this is very different from Sudoku. In XSum's Sudoku, imagine this was a Sudoku grid. You can't have I've forgotten this. You can't have a 4 XSums clue, because there's no way of doing it. Because to do it, you'd need to have 2 2s like this, which is fine in a Fillomino puzzle, but it's definitely not fine in a Sudoku puzzle for obvious reasons. So let's define a region there and think on. So the next lowest digit is this one. So if that was, again, I don't think this can be 3. If this was 3, then we'd be saying these 3 cells sum to 5. So both of these would have to be a 1, and we'd have 2 regions of size 1 next to each other. So that must be a 2. And therefore this is a 3 by the mathematics that 2 plus 3 is equal to 5. Right, we're going to make 2's green, and 3, we've got to have a colour for 3. Let's have blue or grey. Grey. I'm going to have grey. So if that 2 went there, then that would be a 6, wouldn't it? Because these 2 squares would have to add up to 8. But if it went there, well, that's interesting. If it went there, this clue couldn't be a 1, it couldn't be a 2. If it was a 3, well, maybe it goes 3, 3, 2 then, actually. Yeah, okay, maybe it can be a 3 quite easily. Can it be a 4? If that's a 4, these 3 squares add up to 4. Oh no, that's fine. You could do, in fact, it's very easy to do that. You could do double 1 with a 2, or is that the only way you can do it? Does it have to be a 1, 2, 1 thing? because I'm thinking you can't rearrange the order of these, because then the ones will touch one another. So actually, if it is 4, maybe it does have to be specifically 4, 1, 2, 1. Okay, but okay, so this is 3 or 4. I don't think it can be 5, because then the next 3 digits, well, there would be 4 digits that have to add up to 3, and that's ludicrous. So 3 or 4 here, 2, 3 or 4 here. What about the 6th clue? The 6th clue definitely can't be 4. If it was 3, these two square, oh, okay, they could be a 1-2 pair, couldn't they? Ah, okay. And if that's a 2, this would be a 4. So this square, if this is 2, this is 4 by maths. If this is 3, this is a 1-2 pair. And that would, so this is always 1, 2 or 4 depending on what this is. I don't feel like I'm doing very well here. I have to say 7. 7. Ah, alright. You can't put 2 in the corner there, look. That's quite cute. If that was 2, this would be 5 and this would be 5. And the 2 couldn't get out. It couldn't be of size 2, so that doesn't work. So this is at least a 3. If it's... yeah, okay, we get an immediate 3 in the corner. Because if this was 4, these 3 squares would have to add up to 3, and they'd all have to be 1s, and you'd have 1s next to each other, so that doesn't work. So I think it did do it. That's 3 in the corner, that's 3 in the spotlight, losing its religion. Okay, so this is a 3, which we said was grey, and well, that's got to grow. Wait, okay. No, it doesn't go there, does it? But if it went there, if this was 3, what would this digit be? It would be 1 to make those 3 digits add up to 7. But this 1 would be saying that the 19 clue is made up of one cell containing this digit, which is a 1. It's not a 19, so that's definitely wrong. So the 3 goes there, which means this is a 1. Oh, I haven't got a colour for 1. We'll make it orange. So that's a 1. And yeah, and how does this 3 complete itself? We know it doesn't go to this square, so it must go to that square. And we've got another region built there, look. And this region built. And surely now we must know something about this digit. Well, the problem is it could just be a 1. Well, okay. If it's a 1, this is a 3. Right, so there aren't a whole panoply of options, because this domino must contain digits that sum to 4, mustn't it? So if this is a 1, that's a 3. If this is a 2, this is a 2, and this can't be a 3, because then this would be a 1, which we've already looked at, and also it would be touching another 3 now. So this is 1 or 2, and this is 2 or 3. And if it's 2, this square is 17. Which feels very difficult, doesn't it? If it's 3, these 2 squares have to add up to 16, so they could be double 8. Or they could be much more complicated things. It could go 3, 1, 15. Okay, so we don't really... This clue is that the same as this one? It's 2 or 3, is it? Yeah, we said 4 couldn't be 6 couldn't start with a 4. That must be true. So if this is 2, then that's 3 is how it works. If this is 2, this is 3. Because if this is 2, this can't be 2, because the way the situation that gave rise to this being a 2 was if that was a 2. So if this is a 2, we're not in the world where those two are 2s, because we'd have regions of size 2 touching each other, so we'd have that situation going on. And if that's 3, then it can join there. So okay, so let's try the 9 clue. 2, 7. Ah, okay, this is not 2, 7 actually. And that's quite cute. If that was 2 and that was 7, which would add up to 9, so it looks like it might work. It doesn't work because you've got to get the 2 out. It's got to be of size 2 and it's going to bump into the 2 below it. So that's definitely wrong. So this digit in the corner is at least 3 again. Oops, it's at least 3. I think it could be 4. It probably can't. No, maybe it can. No, it can't be 5, can it? If it's... No. Oh, actually, we are going to run into problems with things here because of this 20 clue. Let me just think about that. If that's 5, these 4 squares have to add up to 4, which means all of them have to be 1. That's total nonsense because this clue needs to be add up to 20. So 5 is wrong. It's 3 or 4. If it's 4, these 3 squares have to add up to 5. But in each case... No, that doesn't work. I don't think that works. Because if we're saying... What we're saying there is those 3... These are the 4 squares we're counting. What number am I putting in here? Well, I can't put 4 in, because then these 2 have to add up to 1. So the 4 is going to sort of come and creep round here. And now this clue, what do I put into it? I've got to put something into it that's not as big as 4, so it could be 3, for example. But then we're only adding those 3 squares, and we're saying we're going to get to 20. That doesn't work. And a 2 here would be even worse. We'd only be up to 6. So right, so what that means is that is a 3 in the corner. Again, that's 3 in the corner. 3 in the spotlight, losing its religion. 2 3s in the corner. And these 2 squares add up to 6. Right. Which means they... No. Well... They could be double 3, actually. They could be double 3. Double 3 would add up to 6. It would create a 3 region. And that square would be enormous. I'm trying not to sneeze, sorry. Yeah, because we'd be adding these 3 squares up and saying they added up to 20. And we'd have a 3, a 2, and that would be a 15. But I think other options are possible here, because all we have to achieve is that these 2 digits add up to 6. So if this was not a 3, well, this has to be not 1, doesn't it? So we're looking at either 2, 4. Oh, I see. Oh, this is very clever. Right, nothing works apart from double 3 here. Because, let's look at this. These 2 have to add up to 6. This cannot be a 1 because it has to be part of a 20 clue going downwards. So it's a number that, if we're saying it's not 3, it could be a number like 2, 4, or 5. But any of these options, look what happens. You get a different digit here from the value of this digit. If this is 2, this is 4. If this is 4, this is 2. If this is 5, this is 1. And what does that mean for this? Well, it has to poke out. The only way it can grow and reach its size is to come down the grid. And that's going to pen this 3 in and not allow it to be of size 3. So these are both 3s. That's very pretty. Well, actually, and the exciting thing about that, is that is now... I can't do it. I don't have the ability to put 15 into the cell. We're going to have to do this by... can we do it? Oh, we can. Okay, I wasn't sure whether I was going to have to do it like that with a 5 in the middle, but I don't have to because I suppose 1 and 5 go in the correct order. So this is part of a 15. That's got to come out. So probably... Well, what's that digit now then? That's either... It can't be 3 and it can't be 1. So it's either 2... Well, 2 would be brilliant, because 2 would mean it doesn't bump into the 15, because it would go to 18, and you get 2 massive regions here. But if it's not 2, it could be 4, couldn't it? Well, although, if it's 4, it can't bump into the 15 clue, because we're adding those 4 cells together, and if the 15 clue entered any one of those squares, once you add it to the 4, the other 2 digits would have to add up to 1, and that's not going to work. So if it's 4 or higher, there's no 15 clue. The 50, oh, that would be massive. The 50. So what I'm saying is, if this is 4 or any digit higher than 4, then the 20 clue doesn't overlap with the 15 clue. Let's just draw in what it would look like this, but it might go lower. But look what's happening to the 15 now. The 15, well, it can't overlap with the 6, so it would have to come through this gap. Which probably is okay, actually. That would be a 2, that would be a 4. Okay, that's actually not that easy, is it? I'm just going to take a stare at that for a second, if that's all right. So the 15 would come down here. It couldn't overlap with the red region. This would be a 4, which would have to get out. This would be a 2, which... Oh, the 2 would have to go that way. So this couldn't be a 2. This would be at least a 3. It's very constrained, actually. Very constrained. I'm not even sure it works, but it's a bit of what I would call a look ahead. It's very hard to visualize all of this without actually pencil marking it in. But I don't think it worked when I just did it in my head then. So I'm just going to play it out for you. But I might look for something better than this, because this feels a bit desperate. This being a 2, but put a 2 here because we can't connect a 2 to another region. This 4 has to get out. This region now doesn't start with 2. So it starts with 3 or 4. Well, it doesn't start with 4, because the 4 would grow out here, and these first 2 squares would add up to 8. Which would mean these 2 squares, which would be part of the 4 clue, would have to add up to 0. So this is definitely starting with 3, and the 3 has to get out and not bump into its friend here, and that means it has to go there, and 3 3s are 9, they are not 8. So it doesn't work. Oh, I went back a bit far there. So this is 2 or 4. So what that means actually, see, this could be on the path. If we're meant to, because I've realised it actually has quite a profound. I thought it wasn't going to be quite as profound what that would do, but it would do something quite tricky, because what we're effectively saying is that we can't have a 4 clue down this column. It just won't work, because it's putting the 15 clue too close to the 6 and the 8 clue. And it's interfering too much with their ability to exist. So that means well, that's weird, because that means that clue, if it can't be 4 or higher, is going to be a 218. Wow. Let me just think about this for a second. I might have to use that, because that was, if that's 218, then the 2 is going to have to go there, so this can't be a 2. Yes, I think there is some sort of weird pressure going on with the 320 clues where they're going to all have to have big regions in them. Is there? I'm just wondering if there's a different way of seeing it, because that was quite complicated. Let me just go back to where are we? We're here, aren't we? But we don't know what this clue... Well, we do. We sort of do know now that this is going to be a 2. But in theory, it can be like, at the moment, it could be whopping great digits. Spending its time being a sort of stalactite falling down the grid. It can't be this clue, can it? There is so... I just don't understand. This clue could be a... Well, I think it's going to be 5 5s. 13 clue. 15 clue. I just don't even know how we get into these clues. And this we thought was... Thought it was totally fine for that to be a 2 or a 3. If it's a 3... It's a 3. These two squares add up to 3, so they're a 1-2 pair. I do wonder whether there's something parity related going on, because what I'm noticing is that when you put 3, here, these have to be different regions because we're going to an even total. If that's 2, then we know this is 3. If this is 2, this is 4, isn't it? 2, 4. Ah, no, hang on, that doesn't work. Ah, that is much simpler. That doesn't work. 2, 4 doesn't work because we know that this can't be this now can't be a double 2 pair to give us the extra 4 we need for the horizontal 7 clue. So this has to go 1 3, but how does the 3 get out? It's going to have to go... Well, it's going to have to... I mean, there's so many ways this breaks, but the only way the 3 could get out is by going straight up the grid, and 3 3s do not equal 19, but also 3 is going to bump into itself here. Ah, okay, that's a bit simpler. So this is not 2, this is 3, which is a grey digit. So, do we know whether... We might not know whether this is 2 or 3 now, but we do know that these two squares add up to 3, and they are all different, look. So we're doing this sort of thing. Right, one thing we know is that this can't only go to the west, because if it would then turn upwards and hit this one. So that's definitely a 3. And either this is a 3, and it's 3 3s like that, or this is double 2, and that would be a whopping great 17 digit, wouldn't it? But how has this actually helped us to learn anything about up here? Maybe it hasn't. Oh, this is it's very interesting, this. I have a feeling this puzzle is going to be about... There's going to be some way of proving that there are whopping great regions here, here, here. And maybe that all of that is going to convince us that this can't be a 223 region. It has to take the smallest number of cells or something. It's going to have to be 5 5s. That's what I think. Because if this is 2, this is 17. And if it's 3, we're adding those digits up. 3. But this would be... not a 3. This would be... Well, it depends what that is and whether it goes that way. If that was a 2 and it went there, then this would be 3, 2, 14. Right, here's something interesting. Here's, see, maybe I'm not doing this puzzle the right way. Sorry, I'm sort of floundering around a bit, but one thing I've just noticed is this 8 clue here, it definitely sticks out a bit, doesn't it? So maybe that's something I should be doing, is sort of... No. Well, I'm going to do it here, because this clue sticks out a little bit. I know that. Now, see that if this doesn't start double 2 and then this being a 17, if this is a 3 clue, then we've got 16 more for these 2 digits. Now, what's the smallest digit I can therefore, what's the smallest value I can make both of these cells simultaneously? Well, it would be double 8, wouldn't it? Because anything else is less efficient. If we go, 115, then one of them is massive and is a 15. 214, again, one of them is a 14. The best you can do is double 8. And that is interesting in the context of a horizontal 8 clue, because that is definitely not an 8. So there is no similarity, there is no overlap between these, well, especially this cell and this clue. So the way this clue gets out, this cell gets out, so this is going to be the bigger of the 2 regions in this domino. Because if it's 115, then the 15 will have to be on the top side to get out. Can't put the 15 here and then the 1 above it. So this is the big number. Now the smallest big number we've worked out is double 8 here. So this still has a lot of growing to do and can't grow into that. So it grows up there. So there is another region here that's doing this. And that's right. And the simplest thing that does is it makes that clue a 2. Because it cannot be 3 now. That's really clever. That's really clever. And I like that. That feels a lot less dramatic than what I was doing up here and sort of hypothesizing this, then seeing how it affected these 2. All we had to do for this is just think about this domino. So this is now a 6. I was going to do Sudoku. Well, I can sort of do Sudoku. I was going to say that this is a 2, so this can't be a 3, but actually that is the corollary of what we're going to do here. We've got to grow the 2 region to be of size 2. It bumps into this square, which now has to be a 3, and therefore these 2 squares are a 1-2 pair. Look at that. And that 3 has to... Oh, look, the 3 has to get out. So those 2 are the only places the 3 can go. So we get a 3 region. Oh, we get a 3 region, a 2 region, the start of a 6 region. We're going to have a new colour. Let's make that red. The 6 region doesn't bump into the pink region, whatever size this is. This is at least 8 and up to 15. Yeah, no, up to 17. Because if this was double 2, that would be 17. So this is between 8 and 17. So the 6 region is going to have to come round here and there. Oh, I thought I'd broken it. But I haven't. Because remember, these are different numbers. These add up to 3. Well, that's therefore a 1, isn't it? That's going to have to be the 2 because that can't get out. So the 2 is green, but has to grow. We don't know what this is, because it can't be a 1. So it either joins pink or it joins red. But pink has to get out. Remember, the minimum value of this is 8, so it's still got a lot of growing to do. It's going to have to come through there. So now, do we get this one? Do we get that one? It could still go there, or it could be shut off, couldn't it? So we don't get that one. We were going so well. Right. Well, let's go right back to here now, because this is rather pretty. What do I mean? Well, it's now very obvious to see this cannot be a 4, because that's going to take it into those squares. We know it doesn't overlap. We've worked out it doesn't overlap with the 15. A 15 could not be of size 15 if this is at least a 4. So now we have proved this is a 2. Therefore, this square is an 18 by mathematics. 18 needs its own colour. Let's make it purple. The 2 has to grow. The 2 is green. The 15 has to grow, but the 15 has to grow quite a lot here. I don't know. It seems an awful lot of real estate. No, maybe that's not true. I was going to say, doesn't one of these have to be involved in the 20 clue here? But I'm not sure that's true. This is at least a 3. So it's coming down here. And it can't overlap with the 18. That's really interesting. It can't overlap with the 18 because this digit is at least 3. And 3 and 18 is more than 20. So, I see. No, this is beautiful. Right. Look at this. This clue. In fact, better. No, I can do much better. What I was going to do is say, look what happens when this is 3. And I was going to note that we could just get the 18 and the 15 out, because if that's let's just do that for a second. You can see the 18 could go there and the 15 could go there, and they could both get out of this top left region that they've been sort of corralled into. But actually it's better than that, isn't it? What if this is any other number? If this is 4, it's going to take these clues. It cannot overlap with the 18. So the 18 is going to have to go there, and it's going to shut the 15 in too small a space. So this, we actually know this is a 3. It must be a 3. We're looking at just these 3 squares. So let's just, that's what we're looking at for this 20 clue. This must be an 18 to get the 18 out. Therefore, the 15 must sort of dribble round the edge of this clue. So look at this. Look at this. All those are... we've penned the 2 in. The 2 hasn't grown. Grow the 2. If you get the opportunity to grow the 2, grow the 2. So now we can grow the 15 again, which means the 18 has to come down here. Let's do some colouring to make sure that we're keeping track of the world. The 18 then pops out here into these squares. No, don't quite know. Well, or do I? Oh, no, I don't quite. What I was going to say is, can't I use my parity trick on this domino and say these have to add up to an odd number, which is true. These add up to 17. But what I was going to do, which is probably not valid, is that. Because the 3 could come down, couldn't it? If the 3 came down to this square, then this would be a 14. Yeah, but well, what we can say is that this is its own person, this one here. Because I do know for sure these are this cell and this cell are in different regions, because they add up. One of them's odd and one of them's even, in order to reflect the parity of the sum of this domino. And this is, so this comes out this way. Or is that true? That might not be true. No, that's nonsense. Because if this is a 1 and this was a 16, that would be fine. Ah, but my 6 has to grow. Right, so we get a bit more. In fact, how far does that 6 have to go? I was going to say, does it have to come here? But maybe it doesn't if it did go there. Don't know. Let's now the 15s. I mean, these 15 and 18 regions still have an enormous amount of growing to do. 6 could go here or here. This is where we want it to go, because then, well, then we're really putting pressure on the top of the grid. Let's do some delineations. That's all. We can't bump into that. We can't bump into this. The 18 can't bump into the 20 without breaking it. So we're in this sort of world. Those squares, we don't know, do we? Oh, the 18. Let's grow it again. We might as well keep growing it. Well, so, oh, that feels very difficult. So it looks, I mean, this clue here, which is 3 or 4, it can't be 4 now. It's going to bump into the 18 clue. So that has to be 3, which means it is taking those squares, look. But we've got to fit in 20's worth of digits. How does that work? We've only got 15's worth of space there. Okay, we're going to have to do some counting here. What's the minimum number of cells that are necessary to complete this 20 clue? So how do we do that? I mean, obviously if this was a 1 and a 16, that would take 17 cells, wouldn't it? And this would take 3 cells, so that is using all 20 cells. Yes, okay, so the way I see, so the way that you reduce, yeah, here is a basic point, but it probably is useful to think about it this way. The way that you reduce the pure number of cells implied by the clue outside the grid. So ordinarily, all of these clues would take 20 cells to fill unless they contain a repeated digit. So look, we can see it with the 3's here. These repeat in the 9 clue, and therefore the 9 clue does not consume 9 cells of the grid. It actually only consumes 3 cells of the grid. So if we know these two aren't the same, so the only way that we can repeat a digit within the 20 clue is to repeat the 3 in one of these two squares, which is going to have to be this one. So it's going to be double 3, 14. So 17 cells. But then that can't get out. I've done something wrong here. Because I can't get this out. Because I think the minimum number of cells required to complete this 20 clue is 17, which implies that it has to get out of this top part of the region, but it can't get out through an 8 clue. What about if you did something like that? 3, 1, 4 would add up to 8, and then the 4 could share. That's going to be it. So that gets us, now this is now 3, 4, this is going to be a 13. Oh no, actually I've still got the 3 as well to deal with. 3, no, there's no way, even that doesn't work, and that was quite an intelligent idea. I've done something wrong here. done something wrong. Why did we think this couldn't be a 2? Ah, okay, I don't know. I don't know why we thought that. What are the possible that... Okay, we're in this situation, so this can't be a 4. Now, if it's a 3, we're in exactly the same problem we've just discussed, where we can't... Even if I minimise the number of cells required to complete the 20 clue, there needs to be an overlap between this clue and this clue's numbers, or Fillomino regions, and there can't be. There cannot be. Because the only way I can actually connect these clues is via a 4 clue here. If I use anything bigger than that, it'll break the 8 clue. You know, if I make this a 6 and run it into the 8 clue, given these two squares are a minute, well, given we're talking about the situation where this is a 3, obviously these squares here have to add up to 5. So the maximum you could overlap it with is a 4. The only way you can get a 4 in one of these two squares to overlap with this is like that, and we've proved that doesn't work. So this is a 2. And I don't know, maybe I just missed a pencil mark there or something. So it's a 2, 6 now, and the green is finished. And the 6 is a red. We're saying 6 is red, aren't we? And we can get rid of the thingy here. So now, this being a 6, but still we know that this is taking 17's worth of cells, and there's only 15 in that rectangle. So we know that the 20 clue needs to spill well, what I'm wondering now is, do we know, does it come down here? Does it have to come down there? Or does it overlap with the 6 is my question. I'm not sure I know the answer to that. If that was a 6, then this would be an 11. That would be a 3, so there'd be 4. No, that doesn't work. That is definitely not a 6. Because if that's a 6 and we run it into here, even if we do it in the sort of most friendly way vis-a-vis space, and we do something like that, it's still not quorate, by the way, but it could get this square as well. But now I need 3 more here to complete this 3, so that, let's say that does that. This square is an 11, and there's nowhere near 11 space there. So this digit is something new. And if it is, or whatever it is, we know these are different. They have opposite parity. One of them there's just not enough space. I feel like this square has to be part of this one's region, but that might not be true, actually. No. Oh. I'm not sure. I'm actually not sure. If I knew this was a 3 and this was a 14, then it's obvious. This has to run down here. And that 6 would have to run upwards. Oh, I'm nearly there, I think, but I can't quite close the logic in my brain. I can't quite convince myself that it is necessarily the case that a clue in here must run down here. I think it's true in the sense that the minimum number of cells, let me try and articulate it and see if I believe. I'm going to try and articulate it and then see if I believe my articulation. The minimum number of cells that 20 clue can take, or its clues can take, the regions that are implied by its clues can take, is, if you go double 3, 14, which is 17 cells altogether, because the 3s take 3 cells, the 14 takes 14 cells. That is the minimum. Anything else takes 20 cells, and there is definitely not 20 cells in here, is there? But if the 6 runs down here, can't you run these clues into here and then... Just not sure the 6 leaves the space. The 6, can the 6 go there? But if it goes there, this is an 11 and it has to run down the chimney. Maybe it's just, maybe the simplest thing is to say, can this join that? Because if it can't, then I know that this clue has to get out down this chimney because it needs 17 cells of space. And there is not that available here. So it would have to come down. It wouldn't have to come down far, mind you, but it would have to come down at least those 2. Although in doing that, the 6 is then getting trapped into this top region again. But at least that would put pressure on the 18 and things, wouldn't it? So can this join to that 6? And if it did, this would be an 11 and there wouldn't be space for it, because it would be penned in by the nature of the 6 clue. So so this is not part of the 6. I'm not sure whether this is, but now it is true to say that the way that this clue gets out of the top right of the grid is not via the 6 coming down the chimney. It must make its own chimney, and therefore these squares are, well, be careful, that's true. But it is exactly those 2 squares, because we worked out the minimum for that is 17. 14 plus a 3. Although I think it's worse than that, because now this 6 is forced upwards. And that's adding to the total of regions we've got to deal with in this top part of the grid. So we've got 17 minimum from here, plus 6 is 23, and we've only got 15 cells of space, which implies this has to come down 8 cells. But if actually this square overlapped with this, then this would be an 11, and this would still take 8 actually. So maybe that is the same. But anyway, okay, let's deal with the simpler options, which is the purple thing has to come down now. That has not done its growing. The 15 is still nowhere near big enough, the 15. Okay, so we can do a bit more delineation, bit more delineation, bit more delineation. We know that this thing is coming up here. What's that doing? Is that got to come down here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Still 5 more. The other clue we might have to think about is the 15 clue in a minute, because it looks to me like some of its cluage is going to have to be this. In fact, some of its cluage is going to have to be the 6. This 6 needs to reach size 6. It's a bit of a knowledge bomb. But it cannot do that unless it comes into these squares. And this can't be in, because that would hit the 15 clue into the 18 clue, and that breaks it instantly. So that is a 6. Definitely. This can't be a 2, because it would only add up to 8. So this is at least a 3. So it's 3. Oh, it's going to go 3, 6, 6, isn't it? That's what it's going to do. If it didn't do that, if this was a 4, say, then we're adding those squares together. This 4 has to get out. Yeah, and the 4 getting out would cause the 6 to turn, and now it's broken because we're already at 16. That's lovely. This is a very clever puzzle. This is a 3. I shouldn't be surprised. I'm not surprised. But now that's a 6 by the mathematics of the 15 clue, so we can colour it. The 3's got to grow. I've got another 3 in the corner. That's 3 in the corner. That's 3 in the spotlight, losing its religion. This has got to grow, because this is the mechanism by which this clue gets out of the top right of the grid. Those 2 squares and that one, they're all grey. The 15 clue is finished. This has got to get out. Well, now we need to just think about this a moment. So, that 3's got to get out, actually. Let's not turn our back on easy wins. This has got to grow to be of size 3. Can't bump into this one. If this was a 1, this would be a 16 coming down there. That wouldn't work. There wouldn't be enough room. The 3 would have to grow, and the 6 wouldn't have enough room, and the 3 wouldn't have enough room. So this is not a 1. It's at least a 2. And once it's at least a 2, it's bumping into the chimney. So this is the way that this gets out. And I think this is going to have to be a big number. So what options are there? I mean, the sheer space that's going to be consumed, this 3 clue needs to take 3 digits. The 6 clue needs to take 2 more digits. So there's 1 degree of freedom, because this 3 needs 1 more. There's 1 degree of freedom here, i.e. No, but if that's a 6, that makes that the minimum it can be. Yeah, because if this isn't the 6, it's either the 3 or I think it's a 1, because I don't think there's enough space to introduce a bigger region than that down there. So this is 1, 3 or 6. And the possible values of this, therefore, which I won't be able to pencil mark, are 11, 14 and 16. So this definitely is coming down a lot further. The 18's got to come down a lot further. The 18's still got so much growing to do. It's crazy. Oh, wait. Oh, what's going on with that clue? This is... that's beautiful. Right. What number do we put in here? Now, remember the minimum size of this is 11. Well, if I make that a 3, 3 plus 11 is 14. That's no good at all. So this is a 2. It also can't be a 3, actually, because it would bump into the growth of this 3. So this is a 2. This oh, see, that's an 11. That's an 11. So the 2 must go downwards. This is really clever. The 2 must go downwards. The 3 must bend, because 2 plus 3 is not equal to the right number. So we're in this sort of situation. This is an 11. I think it might have to bump into this. If it didn't... Oh, have we really got enough space at the bottom to introduce a new 11 thing, which would have to be different from this? So this is now at 14 at least. We've got 14 here, 11 here, the rump of the 18 here, the rump of the 15 still to come, whatever this is, and the 25 clue still to deal with. Surely we run out of room. Surely we do. Surely we do is not the same as logic. I do appreciate that, but Let's think about this. How many cells has the 15? The 15's still got 5 cells to grow. The 15, can it go along there? Oh, I didn't think of that. 15, oh, it would have a role to play in the 19 clue. Well, okay, if this thing is not part of the 15, didn't we work out the minimum size of it? It was 8, wasn't it? You make this a 3 and then you make all of this 8. So how far does that go round? Oh, no, that doesn't work at all. It doesn't work at all. All that, no, it doesn't. It doesn't, even if you don't take that one. So this can get out. It doesn't work. I'm sure it doesn't work. Okay, but let's do let's do that in a slightly diligent way. We'll use yellow. So what I'm trying to prove is that yellow and blue cannot exist separately. We know this is at least an 8, so yellow has to grow. 15 has to grow. 15 is nowhere near core 8 at the moment, so it has to grow again. Yellow has to grow again. Now, this is going to have to be the 1. This is going to have to be the 2. And now yellow reaches a maximum size of 7, but we know the minimum size of yellow is 8. That's not good enough. So, in fact, yellow is blue. And now the 15 clue is nearly complete, actually. That's one of the things that we get from that. Because I think now we've got 14 cells of it. And, oh, has this been available forever? Look, my 6 is pending. I don't know, I've got a horrible feeling that that cell's always been red. But anyway, I didn't see it until this moment. Let's do some more colouring. Let's do some more delineation. Well, okay, so how does this 19 clue work now? Because it's got a 15 in it if this is a 3. Oh, it can't be 217, because the 17 will then run in smack bang into the 15. So this is a 3, and that's a 1. And okay, and the 3 finishes, the 1 finishes. I don't know quite what that means. I think it probably means something, but what does that mean? Oh, it can't be 2 lots of 15, can it? Oh, I see. So this is a 1 by dint of numbers. We need 3 plus 1 plus 15 to get to 19. So this 1 can't be next to another 1. So this is a 2, and that is a 1. You get 3 1s on the diagonal, and a domino of 2s, which are green. And the 15 looks like that's going to be done. It's up to 14, is it? Yes, it's still at 14. Okay, so we don't know how it finished. Oh, it doesn't finish there. Because if it finished there, this square would have to be in a new region. And that region would have a size of 1 available to it. And it would be next to another 1. So actually, you can do that as well. Now, if it came down here, this would be a 15. And then this would be a 1. Ah, well, hang on. How much real estate have we got now? Because even if the 15 goes off up there, how many more has the 18 got to live? 18 has only got 10 cells. So 8 cells down here, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 would have to belong. Yeah, that's good enough. That's good enough. So imagine that we introduce a new 11-sized region here that is not part of green. There is not the space for it. There's not even nearly the space for it. So this is part of green, and it is. That's told us that this is. Oh, I'm going to have to do this in a hybrid way. So we'll do it like this to indicate that this is an 11 region, and therefore this square, in order for the mathematics to work, is a 6. Oh, and the 6, right, so the 6 does join up there. That was one of the things I was thinking about. So the 3 has to go to those 2 squares, which means it doesn't bump into its friend 3 here. So the 3 goes there. This is now a 1 by dint of having to separate the 3's and not being able to be part of the 6. Look at this. My 11 region, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've got 3 more cells of 11 region to build. And oh, right, my 25 region, which is what I thought was going. No, it's not. It's not 5 5s because it will cut off the 18 region. Oh, right. Here is a nice point. This square is not a 2, so it's at least a 3. But the 11 still has 3 cells to grow, so even if it took those 2, it will take one of these 2 squares at least. So this 25 clue includes at least 1 cell of 11, which means that, well, okay, one thing that means is that the 25 clue doesn't take any 18 clue. Because if it did, it would have an 11 cell in it and an 18 cell in it, and it couldn't add up to 25. So I think this must be a 3, mustn't it? If it's a 4 and it goes to there, let's just have a think about that. I'm not sure. If this is a 4, it couldn't take 2 cells of 11 then. So it would take 1 cell. The 18 would have to complete itself by missing out this 4. So the 18 would complete round there. The 11 would complete with 2 here and 1 in here. But then, yeah, then the remainder, so remember this is a 4 in this paradigm. How does that 4 complete itself? It's only got 3 cells available, and it wouldn't add up to the right number even if it did complete itself somehow along there. 12 and 11 is not 25. And there isn't enough space for the 4 to finish anyway. So what we learn is this is a 3. Which means, okay, so it's probably going to be double 11 here, I think. I think that's where we're being led. If that's double 11. Well, how much white space have we got? That's a good question. We know we need 3 more greens, that's those. 2 more to complete the grey. And 8 more thingy-joggies, i.e. 18s, and that is all the space filled. So we must fill the remaining space with the remaining digits implicit in these values, and the only way these 2 squares can therefore add up to exactly 22 is if they are 2 11s. This is brilliant, isn't it? So now, the weird thing about that is it forces the shape of the 3. I can see how this is going to fit. Oh! that's 3 in the corner. That's 3 in the spotlight, losing its region. I've now had 4 3s in the corner. But there's 1 more light green square to come and no more regions to introduce. So it must be that one as the light green one. It must be this one as the 18 one. And all the rest of the grid are down here as 18. And I see that I am now not quite finished because that square must be the final 15, I think. And I'm just going to take a quick look at this once I've delineated it and convince myself whether I think it looks correct or not. It doesn't feel right when I've got this, what looks like pencil marks here. So 3 plus 22, 2 plus 11, 2 plus 6, 3 plus 6 plus 6. I'm just going to check the size of this. 10, 18, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, it looks good, doesn't it? I think that's right. Let's get rid of the thingy there. That is a brilliant puzzle. Good grief. I mean, it's oh gosh, it's enough. I've spent a long time on it in the last 2 days solving your puzzles, Analytical Ninja. Is it correct? Oh, yes. Oh my goodness. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Look at the length of time. It's nearly a year old. Well, okay, so I've done a very old Analytical Ninja puzzle and a very new Analytical Ninja and Kafka far noun puzzle in the last 2 days, and both of them have been spectacularly brilliant. thank you very much for watching. If you're still with me, stay with me for some poetry. And let me know in the comments how you got on with the puzzle. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic. Poem in October by Dylan Thomas. It was my 30th year to heaven, woke to my hearing from harbour and neighbour wood, and the mussel pooled, and the heron priested shore, the morning beckon, with water praying, and call of seagull and rook, and the knock of sailing boats on the net-webbed wall, myself to set foot, that second in the still sleeping town, and set forth. My birthday began with the water birds, and the birds of the winged trees flying my name above the farms and the white horses, and I rose in rainy autumn and walked abroad in a shower of all my days. High tide, and the heron dived when I took the road over the border, and the gates of the town closed as the town awoke. A spring full of larks in a rolling cloud, and the roadside bushes brimming with whistling blackbirds, and the sun of October, summery on the hill's shoulder. Here were fond climates and sweet singers suddenly come in the morning, where I wandered and listened to the rain-ringing wind blow cold in the wood far away under me. Pale rain over the dwindling harbour, and over the sea-wet church the size of a snail, with its horns through mist, and the castle, brown as owls, but all the gardens of spring and summer were blooming in the tall tales, beyond the border, and under the lark-full cloud. There could I marvel my birthday away, but the weather turned around. It turned away from the blithe country, and down the other air and the blue altered sky streamed again a wonder of summer, with apples, pears, and red currants, and I saw in the turning so clearly a child's forgotten mornings, when he walked with his mother through the parables of sunlight and the legends of the green chapels, and the twice-told fields of infancy, that his tears burned my cheeks, and his heart moved in mine. These were the woods, the river and sea, where a boy in the listening summer-time of the dead whispered the truth of his joy to the trees and the stones and the fish in the tide, and the mystery sang alive still in the water and singing birds. And there could I marvel my birthday away, but the weather turned around, and the true joy of the long-dead child sang burning in the sun. It was my 30th year to heaven, stood there then in the summer noon, though the town below lay leaved with October blood. Oh, may my heart's truth still be sung on this high hill in a year's turning.